Water has been used to harness energy to do work for thousands of years. Water mills translate mechanical energy directly from naturally occurring movement, while steam engines and nuclear reactors generate that movement with the application of chemical and nuclear energy. If, as I've suggested in other videos, there is an astrological force from which all other forces emerge, one which harmonizes the inertia of local matter with the inertia of observable matter, then this force could be able to be utilized in a similar way. The goal would be to shape a local medium, like water, into a microcosmic reflection of the state of the macrocosmos, such that the medium would harmonize with what I believe to be pseudo-random fluctuations of the local quantum vacuum, which would heat the medium. You would need a machine that observes the surroundings, from celestial bodies to the local environment in relationship to the water, and translates that information into patterns of vibration and radiation that, when projected onto the water, would sync the water with its environment. In other words, it would make that medium a low-resolution representation of the astrological information observable from that medium. But I would suggest that such a machine already exists. Think about it. What type of system constantly absorbs input about its observable environment, translates that information into a series of local vibrations and radiations projected into the mediums contained by that system, all in order to produce responses that reflect that environment, what's currently understood as minimizing free energy? The term for that is a biological system. While it's uncontroversial that biological organisms evolved to become microcosmic reflections of their local environment, the idea that they are microcosmic reflections of their environment at a celestial scale is an idea that hasn't been taken seriously in a few hundred years, because it would require some kind of non-local force that would cause celestial information to participate in the evolutionary process in the first place. To be clear, I understand biological systems haven't evolved to magically absorb energy out of the vacuum from observation, so we can lose the idea of an astrological generator. Because the astrological force clearly isn't a force. This isn't a conversion of energy, this is the minimization of free energy. That's not an exchange of energy at all, it's about an exchange of information. Specifically, local information and non-local information. A system that at the level of a single particle would be a Lagrangian with a random statistical basis, but at the level of collections of particles would look like a slight tendency for particle relationships to reflect astrological information. With the more astrological information incorporated into the model, and the more particles represented by the model, the greater that tendency and the greater the predictability of the state. But back to the biology. Evolution of biological organisms is fundamentally an evolution of that process I mentioned earlier, translation between observed information and local information, particularly the translation between environmental stimuli and biological reactions. It also only seems to go one way. While the energy within our bodies reacts to observed information, there doesn't seem to be any way for the energy within our bodies to cause our observed environment to react in the same way. That would just be magic, and the idea that humans have already evolved to a degree in which they could harmonize themselves with the patterns of the universe in such a way that manipulation of their internal energies could cause their environment to react is something that hasn't been taken seriously for hundreds of years, so it's probably not worth thinking about.